What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Now, a couple of new members saying I haven't called out your name, so please do call me out if you don't see your name on the list or I don't call you out. YouTube is being really weird just lately, and names are appearing a couple of days later, which is really strange, and then I totally miss it. So as I said, please do call me out because I want to show my appreciation towards you, of course. But today we had a bunch of new members. We had Katie Kerwin, Karan Desai, Hafiz Yesufu. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these names. I'm trying my best here. The Terrible Channel, Mama the Best, Claudia, and Kerid Win. Thank you so much for your support. It's absolutely amazing of you. I always feel so overwhelmed when I read these things, man. It's just absolutely incredible to support me in that way. So thank you so much. And for everyone for taking the times out of your day to be here. It really does mean the world to me. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Now, our first story comes from 6th 92 Row. Am I the arsehole for refusing to get my in-laws anything for Christmas to prove a point to my husband? Been together 9 years, 29 female, 30 male, have 2 kids. I absolutely adore my in-laws. They are fantastic people and I get along with them swimmingly. My family is far from perfect and raised me in a very toxic environment, so having positive people like my in-laws in my life has been a godsend. However, because my husband knows how toxic my family was when I was growing up, he refuses to include them in anything. This is the only downfall in our marriage. They have never done him wrong or done myself wrong for years either, but he doesn't give a shit, just completely disregards that they even exist. We even get his family something for Christmas every year, as well as spending the eve and day with them every year. Mine is lucky to get a Merry Christmas text. Now, my sister is almost 18 and just found out she's pregnant. She is against abortion and did use a condom, which obviously broke. She lives with her boyfriend's parents, who have made both her and her boyfriend's lives a complete hell since finding out. My sister and her boyfriend both work part-time and went to school, but after his parents found out they were pregnant, they made their son drop out of school and get a full-time job. He was 4 months from getting all credits to graduate. They also upped their rent from $400 a month to $800 a month, even though their rent is only $950 for a 6-bedroom house, and they can't use any of the spare rooms. Plus they have to buy their own food, pay the internet and electric bill, not included in their rent. Can't take showers all but once a week to save on water, and are basically limited to their bedroom. They practically have to ask to take a piss. They have even deliberately made my sister feel like shit by saying they won't be carting her ass around to any appointments for free. Knowing this info, I wanted to get her something for the baby, knowing there was no way in hell they could afford one living under boyfriend's parents' roof. I wanted to buy her a crib, the same one I had for my kiddos. The one that changes into a toddler bed and then a day bed. It grows with a baby. She could use it for years. It was only $199 on sale. I purchased mine for $699. So I told my husband I wanted to buy it and he lost his shit. Said that he wasn't going to break the bank to support a child having a child and said she decided to have the baby, she can get a job and buy a crib. It's not my job to give her gifts. Mind you, I work full time, more hours than him by a long shot, but he works salary and technically makes more. I was livid, I'll admit, and immediately snapped back with, well, looks like we'll be crossing mummy and daddy off the Christmas list because they have jobs and can buy their own gifts. Since that conversation, I have held the same tune. Though he claims this is entirely different and that I'm an arsehole for trying to compare the two, Christmas/baby gifts. Am I the arsehole? Well, let's start from the start where it says your family is they raise you in a very sort of toxic environment, but you still love them and you still want to do things for them and want to be involved with them. It's not like you want to go no contact with them like we see in a lot of these stories. And I think your husband should respect that regardless of what his thoughts are. If he knows that you want to be a part of their lives, I think he should just respect that. And besides, you got your own job too, you earn your own money, so him trying to control that as well is slightly worrying in my eyes. You know, we see it a lot and I shouldn't be judging that because I'm reaching a bit there, but I personally think if you want to buy this crib, you just go ahead and do it. In the end, it's your life, your family, and your relationship with them, so you need to judge what you need to do, and in some ways, your husband needs to respect that. They're your boundaries, he needs to respect those. But Prairie Mountain Zen says, not the arsehole. As it turns out, you don't need your husband's permission to buy your sister this very thoughtful, useful gift. You work full time, so you can afford it yourself. Your husband is being really shitty and completely unreasonable about this. Talk about toxic. And OP replies saying, see, I brought that up and told him that while he claims to hate my toxic family, he's being pretty toxic himself. And his response is, no, I'm not being toxic, I'm setting boundaries. There is a huge difference. And I think the problem is there, he's setting boundaries with your money, telling you what to do with it. So yeah, Nanny Live says, I think you should ignore your husband and buy your sister a crib. Then I think you need to ignore the devil on your shoulder and select gifts for your in-laws. If purchasing for your family is a task you usually do, then do it and tell him to butt out. You're eventually going to have this fight. Stick to your guns, do the right thing, and go ahead and have it. Dart1126 says, not the arsehole. Even if he hadn't a history with your parents and ignoring your side of the family, this is awful. Why would he be such a jerk to your sister? Will you never be able to buy her anything? He sounds like a complete jerk. I totally get the point you're trying to make, and this has zero to do with your family being toxic. Does he alienate you from you and your friends, or just your family? Now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation, and how would you deal with it? Let us know in the comments below. And our next story is from Frustrated Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for refusing to cook meat when my husband broke our lonely daughter's only friendship because he hates vegans? Obligatory throwaway because I don't want angry vegans in my inbox. My husband is from the south, and let me just say this, he hates vegans. His family is a stereotypical country one that they get ridiculously mad when they see Beyond Meat etc. adverts on TV. They're practically vegan phobic and hate any menu which says suitable for vegetarians or vegans etc. This never really bothered me, and I thought it was funny because I ate meat and I didn't think it was a big deal. My daughter, now 6, was born allergic to a lot of things like eggs and is also intolerant to lactose and grass, pollen etc. She rarely got to go to birthday parties because we couldn't let her eat anything there. When she was a baby, my husband ate an egg sandwich and kissed her and she broke out in hives and we had to take her to the doctor. All new foods we tried were under medical supervision. While she can eat meat, she can't eat any fun meat like nuggets because of egg contact. One of the kids she recently met is our new neighbour who is around 4 houses away. They are completely vegan and their son doesn't eat anything they don't. So at his birthday party she could eat the actual cake and not a muffin I'd sent. It cheered her up and they had play dates even when they weren't supposed to. I was glad she made a friend. His parents hadn't called for a while and didn't pick up ours. When I saw his dad while I was out, I was like, hey, what's wrong? And he was a little hostile. And he was really hostile, telling me to never talk to him or his wife again and that I'd pray for my daughter. I thought that was crossing the line. He pulled his phone out and showed me a very rude text from my husband. I didn't believe his story that my husband started a fight, but when I asked him about it, he was proud that Sheila wasn't hanging out with hippies. I remembered the vegan hate. I was like, until he apologised to that family and they agreed to let their kid play with ours, I'd never cook meat again. He said I needed to get over it and do my job, but I am cooking, just not what he would like. Am I the arsehole? Now, from that last line alone, do your job, do the cooking. I mean, get rid. And I might get hate for this one, but I think I'm going to go with an everyone sucks here, apart from the daughter, of course. I feel so sorry for the daughter in this situation. Her only friend that she's got has been ruined by her pig of a father. But I'm also going to say that the wife sucks in this situation too. I don't know the full story and how she is treated behind closed doors, so I'm not going to go too deep onto that one. But she does suck for enabling this behavior, and some of her comments also enable that behavior too and just keeps making excuses for her husband. So I'm going to say everyone sucks here because of that, because your daughter's the one that's suffering now. It's been passed on to your daughter and you're still doing nothing about it. But Time and Entropy says, not the arsehole, and what? A spouse telling me to do your job in reference to a household chore would put me right on strike. I wouldn't stop cooking meat for the guy, I'd stop cooking for him. He sounds like an objectively horrible person to be so callous towards your daughter's friendship and so proud of picking a fight and insulting others. Of course, the fact that you thought this kind of hatred was just sort of funny until it impacted your child makes me wonder a little about you. And Beckdorg says, not the arsehole, but I almost want to call you the arsehole for staying with someone so nasty. Your husband literally ruined your daughter's one friendship over something insanely petty, and your only way of dealing with it is not cooking him meat. That sounds like an insane underreaction to me. Everyone sucks here because it's pretty clear OP doesn't actually care much to deal with her husband's behaviour and defend him at every turn. Typical management says everyone sucks here except the vegan family and your daughter. I've read your comments and you make so many excuses for your husband. You excuse his hate for vegans and his behaviour until it personally impacted you. I wonder what else you excuse because it hasn't personally impacted you. Your husband is an arsehole for obvious reasons. And Fox Sabina 2010 says, you don't want angry vegans in your inbox, but you married into a family that gets ridiculously mad at TV adverts and they hate menus. Christ, I've never been that mad at either of those things. You're not the arsehole, but it's worrying your husband has put his own rage, stupidity and fragile masculinity ahead of his own daughter's serious dietary restrictions. And Saving Clothes says, everyone sucks here. You didn't have a problem with your bully of a husband until your child had to suffer the consequences. You're just as pathetic as he is. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you think of the situation and how should OP deal with it? Do you think the husband would ever change his views on meat and stuff like that and on vegetarians and vegans? Let us know in the comments below. And our next story is from Thrower Far Out. Am I the arsehole for telling my wife that it's her own fault that our son doesn't like her? I, 36 male, and my wife, 37 female, have 4 kids together. I work from home, which means I'm the main caregiver for them, while my wife manages her own business. We talked about this before we got married and agreed that it was best way to parent our kids. The kids are all relatively young, 10 female, 8 male, and 3 male, and a 5-month-old baby boy. On the same note, my wife, whenever she is at home, spends most of her time with the oldest 2. She plays with them, helps them with their homework, talks to them about school and their friends and their interests. I noticed that she doesn't do the same for the youngest 2. She only helps with a 3 male if I ask her to, and doesn't talk to him or play with him or anything. She just gives him a bath every few weeks or helps cut up his dinner. She also yells at him for the tiniest things, which leads to an argument between us. As for the baby, my wife holds him but only when she feels like it. I've tried to help the most with the baby because I know that babies are really hard to deal with, but even though I shouldered the bulk of responsibilities for him, my wife barely holds him and won't even go to him in the middle of the night when he cries. No feeding, no playing, no talking, not even the littlest of things. Hell, my wife is more affectionate with a cat than she is with the babies. I've tried to sit her down and have a calm discussion with her, but she won't listen and refuses to acknowledge anything I say. Yesterday, my wife came to me while I was feeding the baby and said that she asked 3 male about his day and that he ignored her. She apparently then tried to play with him, but that he snatched his toy away and said something along the lines of, his name doesn't want to play with mummy. My wife seemed quite hurt by this and asked if he's been having other behavioural issues. I admit I was exhausted and hungry and snapped back rather than having a full discussion. I said, well, maybe if you actually showed any interest in him, maybe 3 male would want you to play with him. She got angry by this and asked what I meant. I elaborated further that she doesn't spend any time with the actual babies, she just shows an interest in the older kids and that's it. I said that it was her fault and that she had nobody else to blame for 3 male not liking her, and that I'm surprised that the baby even lets her hold him anymore. She didn't say anything back, just got up and went to do her own thing. I tried to talk to her calmly, but she gave me the cold shoulder and last night told me that if I slept in the same bed with her, then she was going to leave and get a hotel. So I slept on the couch, which gave me some time to think. I know I was harsh, but she literally doesn't spend any time with them. So my question is, am I the arsehole for how I reacted instantly, but not necessarily for the context of the argument? Edit, she got tested for PPD and spoke with 2 therapists and doesn't have it. And that was going to be my initial thought. As I was reading through this and like previous stories we've read before, I was instantly going to say, this sounds like PPD to me. To not bond with a couple of the other children, but to play with the old one, it definitely sounds like PPD, but obviously not if she has been tested for it. So what else could it be? Why is she not playing or feeding or getting involved with these younger children? Are we literally just talking about someone playing favourites here? Because if we are, that is absolutely insane. To play favourites with one of your children but not the others, I find that crazy. And that can't be a right mindset to have, right? There's got to be something else there. I just can't accept that there's not something more there than someone just playing favourites. But maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm just too innocent. And one of my questions would be like, was she like that with the oldest now? When that child was a baby, was she like attentive to that child? But let's read some of the comments to see what they say. Payroll Print says, not the arsehole. I think some parents seem to have this false notion that even if they neglect their kids will still treat them with love and respect at all times. She needs to stop playing favourites because it will leave an impression on the younger kids and will cause many problems down the line. If she's being passive aggressive about it, she needs to grow up and realise that the way the kids treat her at that age is completely her doing. Last Rest says, I think you'll need to go to counselling. There may be some underlying mental issues that she may not even be aware of. You acted rash, which makes you the arsehole, but you also have a fair point. Get into counselling together and work this out. Catler says, info, was your wife similarly disinterested in the older two kids when they were babies/toddlers, or is this more of a recent phenomenon? OP replies, this is recent. When the oldest were babies, she was very attentive to them. And Practical Heart says, not the arsehole, maybe it was harsh, but it seems like she needed that in order to get it through to her. She's angry at you, but I suspect that the reason she's angry is she knows what you said is true. Could she have some postpartum depression? Was she interested in the 3-year-old before the baby? What about when your oldest kids were little? Was she involved with them, or is it a case where she's more comfortable when the kids are older? And OP replies once again saying, no, she got tested and has been to therapists. There's no PPD. She was involved with the toddler, but not as much as she was with the oldest because that's when her business started and when she got pregnant. She just full on dropped him. Yes, she's interested in the older kids, very attentive to their needs and always playing with them. But now I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think is going on in this situation? I can't get it out of my head that it's not PPD. I just can't see it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for doing my hobby during my kids' bedtime routine? My husband and I are in our mid-30s and have 2 kids, 1 male and 3 female. I'm currently working from home, but my husband needs to actually be at his desk to do his job, service tech. We are also still sending our kids to daycare so I can actually get work done during the day. So my husband does all of the drop off and pick up with the kids. I've always been a very social person, and with everything that's happened the last year, I found my mental health really deteriorating without being able to see friends and family. I did Zoom calls with friends for a while, but with school and everything else, people got busy and those calls became less frequent. So I started looking for new outlets that could help. I found an art class that meets via video chat and decided to give it a try. I started doing 1 night a week and found it was very therapeutic and relaxing, and it gave me a social aspect I craved. Since I enjoyed it so much, I started doing it more often, 3 to 4 nights a week. The problem though is that the meeting time comes right through the middle of our kids' bath/bedtime routine. There isn't an option to record the meetings or download them, so I have to be there live in order to participate and socialise. My husband has grown increasingly frustrated that he is on solo bath/bedtime duty during these nights and has asked that I cut back on how often I do my new hobby. I told him that he should be happy that I found something that I enjoy and makes me feel better. Plus the kids like seeing all the art projects and paintings I've been making. One night last week we were cleaning up after dinner and I reminded him that I have my art class that night. He let out an exasperated sigh and said, again, that's the 4th time already this week. When do I get a break, huh? I told him he was free to find his own hobby to do, but he cut me off before I could finish and said, when I'm out of the house for 10 plus hours every day, dropping the kids off, working, picking them up, then I come home and have to put them to bed every night while you're painting and drinking wine. So tell me when I get to do anything for myself. I just stood there in shock for a second, and before I could say anything he said, yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't think of a time either. I'm gonna go and get the kids ready for their bath. I tried to talk with him after he put the kids to sleep, but he said he didn't want to talk and just wanted to enjoy an hour of peace for himself for once. I know he's frustrated with everything going on, just the same as I am, but I found my mental health has been exponentially improved by doing this art class, and I don't want to give that up. I was in such a dark place before I started doing this, and I don't want to regress back there. I know it might be a little selfish of me, but I really feel I need this in my life right now. Now on this one there is a little edit, but we'll read that after the comments. But on this one, you know, what I get in this post is it sounds, and I know this is going to sound horrible because everyone needs their own little thing, you know, with kids and stuff and lockdown and everything going on. It's absolutely crazy, and mental health for everyone is all over the place right now. But I don't see nothing about your husband's mental health in here at all. He's doing the pickup, he's doing his own job, and he's coming back and having to bath and bathe the kids too. And like he said in the story, what's he getting for himself in this? He's getting nothing, and he's having to do everything while you're just worried about your own mental health. What about his? And I'm sure the update is going to say something about her being a stay-at-home mum and all the jobs she does during the day, and I'm not going to downplay those because I never downplay those. You know that. Some of you guys get on my back about that, but I don't play down those. I think I consider it a full-time job too. But in this particular situation, you're taking extra time when you could be doing this together, bathing and bathing the kids and getting it done in double time. You're taking that time for yourself because of your own mental health issues and totally disregarding your husband's, which I don't think is right in my opinion. So I think you are the arsehole in this situation. It still needs to be 50-50, and you need to take a step back and look at the damage you might be potentially doing to your husband. He sounds like he's exhausted just as much as you are. But let's have a look at some of the comments first, then we'll go on to the update. So Chico Grill Mass says, "You're the arsehole. Your husband has asked you to help out more. You're refusing. He is overwhelmed. What about his mental health? When is he supposed to get a break that you get? Cut back to not more than 2 times a week and look for a class that is available after your kids go to bed. Make sure you're giving your husband time to recharge. Ask him what he needs to do and find a way to make it happen. Trying to get 2 toddlers to bed is a lot, and bonding time is just as important. I get the need to work on your mental health, but you're not the only one in the picture right now, so you need to find a better balance." Kandran says, "You're the arsehole. You work from home. You send your kids to daycare that he takes them to and picks them up from, and he's still in charge of bathing and getting them to bed the majority of the week, while you socialise and drink wine. Is taking care of your mental health good? Yes it is, but you're being selfish to the detriment of your husband and potentially your children. You need to work out a schedule that works for both of you. A marriage and a family is more about than just yourself." And Muck Susie says, "You're the arsehole, but the good news is that this is fairly easy to solve. 4 nights per week is too often to leave your husband to do bed and bath time on his own, and I think you know that. 2 nights per week is enough hobby time to help buoy your spirits. Please limit your class attendance to 2 nights per week on those nights. Bathe the kids before your class starts. Have your husband keep the rest of the bedtime routine the same, but to do that bath right after they have dinner. If you can find additional class that meets later in the evening, go ahead and add that, but if you can't, you'll be fine with the 2 classes per week. You might also try to find an activity that you can share with your husband on a few evenings after the kids go to bed. Also, you should be taking the kids to daycare. That will make your husband's workday a little bit easier." And now we'll head straight to the update. So ETA, since so many of you think I'm some kind of deadbeat wino mum, I feel the need to add some information. Since I've been working from home, I do all the cleaning, all the cooking, all the laundry, all the meal planning and grocery shopping. I make sure dinner is ready for everyone by the time they get home every night. I also get the kids up and ready to go in the morning and feed them breakfast while my husband gets ready for work. The workload between me and my husband is about as close to 50-50 as you can get in my opinion, and I have a single glass of wine with 1 to 2 of my classes a week. It's not like I'm downing a bottle every night. But now I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think in this situation, and what would you do? Do you think if this is just a balance issue, and do you think the husband's mental health is just as important and she should take that into consideration? Let us know in the comments below. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories, and if you have, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Don't forget, we got the Christmas competition over on Discord. It's really getting spicy. Lots of great posts on there, and I love looking at them. So thank you so much. And don't forget, we have the merch store down below in the description too, as some of you have been requesting it. Some of you have been buying some as well, and I'd love to see that on Twitter when you do receive it, please. Anyway, I hope you have a great day ahead of you, whatever you're doing, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.